Hi guys, what is up? My name is Dylan. Welcome back to the Popcorn Podcast. I hope everyone is doing fantastic. It has been a little while since I was sat here in front of the camera. Well, at least it feels like that. Some of you might have realized that I didn't actually upload a what I watched in February episode, and that is because March hit me like a ton of bricks. Usually March is one of, if not the busiest month for me of the year. I turned 23. Man's no longer a little kid anymore. So yeah, that happened, and just a bunch of other stuff really that went down this month. But happy to be back, and I thought, why not combine my February episode with my March episode to sort of give you a rundown on everything I watched over those 2 months. March, I didn't really watch that much, so it kind of feels like just a regular episode. But yeah, hope everyone's doing good, hope everyone's fantastic. I'm gonna stop waffling now and get talking about everything that I watched in the months of February and March 2022. So as you guys can see, I've watched 23 entries in the month of February. Not too high, not too low, pretty average month for me, I'd say. On the 1st of February, I watched the Cloverfield Paradox, which was not great. Like, if you can tell by the rating that I've given it, a 1.5 star. Yeah, I did not enjoy this too much. I just thought the whole thing there was some interesting aspects, but the whole thing was just super dragged out. It felt like a really bad episode of Doctor Who, guys. Would not really recommend watching this. The only reason I watched it was because I watched the 2 previous Cloverfield films at the end of January, so obviously I was continuing on from that. But on the 3rd, I watched The Usual Suspects for the first ever time. It's been on my list for ages, finally gotten around to watching it. I think it's very, very good. Don't get me wrong, I think it's very good. And I can see why people back in the day were saying this is a masterpiece. People still today are saying this is a masterpiece. I thought it was really, really good. I thought the performances were terrific. The whole Kaiser Soze thing that was going on, that was really well done. A really, really solid mystery thriller here. One of the best I've seen in quite some time for sure. So yeah, 4 out of 5 stars for The Usual Suspects. On the 4th, I watched Old School, which is a Todd Phillips directed comedy with Will Ferrell, Vince Vaughn, and Luke Wilson. Thought it was fine, pretty funny. I like Todd Phillips as a director. A lot of his comedies, like of course the Hangover trilogy, I just absolutely love. This was fine. I don't really find Will Ferrell that funny. I don't know if this is just me or if there are other people out there like this. I'm pretty sure there are, but I don't usually find him that funny. But I love Vince Vaughn a lot. I think he's terrific. So 3 out of 5 stars for Old School. On the 6th, I watched Cafe Society, I think directed by Woody Allen. It's got Jesse Eisenberg, Kristen Stewart, Steve Carell, and it's shot beautifully by cinematographer Vittorio Storaro, who is the same guy who shot Apocalypse Now. This is such a beautiful looking film. I actually really liked Cafe Society. It's not like a story or a plot that's really gonna stick, but just from a filmmaking perspective, it's wonderful. And then later on that night, I watched the documentary 14 Peaks, which is about this Nepalese mountaineer who embarked on a mission to climb the 14 highest mountains in the world. It is just a terrific documentary. I don't really watch that many documentaries. I was recommended this one by a friend of mine, and it's brilliant. Like very highly recommended, I would say. On the 7th, I watched The Fallout, which is a new film by, I think it's Warner Bros, starring Jenna Ortega. I thought this was quite disappointing because it had a really sort of deep premise to it, and I thought that it could have been a really, really interesting watch, but I don't think it used. So the premise is it's an aftermath of a school shooting, which is a really sort of dense and emotionally built premise for a film, of course, but I just felt like the film sort of shied away from really embracing that, and it sort of just went down the same sort of coming of age story that we'd seen so many times. So that was quite disappointing to see. On the 9th, I watched Blue is the Warmest Color. Another one that has been on my list for ages. It's a French film, of course, starring Léa Seydoux. It's great. I loved it. It's quite long, actually. I don't think it needed to be as long as it was, but it's a really, really emotionally charged film about this a relationship between these two girls, sort of from when they first meet and then how their relationship grows, and it's tragic. It's a whole load of things. I'm sure you would have probably heard of the film, or if not seen it already. But yeah, I really liked Blue is the Warmest Color. 4 out of 5 stars for me. On the 10th, I was feeling like watching something a bit sort of a lighter tone after watching The Fallout and Blue is the Warmest Color. So I watched Blockers. It's a comedy with Leslie Mann and John Cena, and I actually liked this a lot more than I thought I was going to. There were 2 points in the film where I laughed my arse off, which was great to see. But yeah, overall 3 out of 5 stars film for me. On the 11th, I watched the Korean horror thriller I Saw the Devil, and I've been looking forward to this for a while, and this was an absolutely terrific film. 100% recommended to you if you like really dark, fucked up films, especially from Korea as well. This is definitely a new favorite of mine from South Korean cinema. I thought this was terrific. I'm not going to really go into the plot that much. I want to leave you guys as much in the dark as I can. But yeah, highly recommended. It's not for the faint of heart. On the 12th, I watched Kimi, which is the new Warner Bros. Film starring Zoe Kravitz. I thought that this was fine. Zoe Kravitz, I love. I think she's great. And it's directed by Steven Soderbergh, so it's going to look and feel really good. It's a really bad way of describing that, but the craft behind this film was really interesting, and that is sort of what kept me going. The plot is, we've seen this 100 times before, so 2.5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was decent. On the 13th, I saw Marry Me, starring Owen Wilson and Jennifer Lopez. I don't really want to go into this. It wasn't great. I mean, it's like the same sort of feel-good rom-com we've all seen before. And I don't get me wrong, I do love rom-coms, but yeah, I didn't really think that there was anything that new to this. I like J-Lo and I like Owen Wilson a lot. I think they were great in the movie. It just, yeah, I don't know. Anyways, on the 14th, I finally watched The Pianist, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Thought it was very good, just like Usual Suspects. Adrian Brody in this film is absolutely terrific. Really emotional performance from him. Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars for me. On the 16th, I watched this new animated documentary film called Flea, which of course was nominated for a bunch of stuff at the Oscars if you were tuning into the Oscars this year. Really good film. Riz Ahmed voices the main I don't want to say character because it's based on a true story, but yeah, we went to the cinema, we watched this, and it was a really it was very different from what we're usually used to watching, which is good. But yeah, I if you like sort of documentary-esque films, this is one of the best based on a true story films I've seen in a little while. So yeah, on the 17th, I rewatched Murder on the Orient Express. I mean, I think this film is fine. Kenneth Branagh, I think he's a pretty good director. And the only reason I rewatched it was, of course, to then go on and watch Death on the Nile, which I watched later on that night. It's similar in quality to the Murder on the Orient Express, but I liked it a little less. I didn't love this film. I thought it was. I really don't even know what to say about Death on the Nile. It's a film that I saw so much like marketing for, and then once I watched it, completely forgot about it the next day. So yeah, on the 18th, I've watched Uncharted with Tom Holland, Mark Wahlberg. Thought it was fine, nothing amazing. Yeah, fine. I don't have a huge attachment to the games, although I have played them, and I know there are some really hardcore fans out there of the Uncharted games, and I feel like if I did, I'd probably be a bit more pissed off, but I thought the film was fine. I had fun with it. Yeah, moving on. On the 21st, I watched Batman, the 1989 superhero flick with Michael Keaton, of course. Love this film. Love Tim Burton's vision for Gotham City. It's instantly iconic. Jack Nicholson is, of course, terrific as the Joker. 22nd, I watched Batman Returns, which I think is a little less in quality to Batman, but for some reason it's actually become, I say for some reason, there's so many reasons, but it's become actually more iconic than the first, which is quite rare. Of course, Michelle Pfeiffer is really good as Catwoman, Danny DeVito as the Penguin. Yeah, I mean, it's really fun. And then on the 22nd, again that night, I watched Batman Forever, rewatched Batman Forever. This is probably my least favorite Batman live action film. I really don't like this film that much. It's fun, it's obviously very camp. So of course this is the Joel Schumacher phase that is starting, and yeah, I actually like this one less than Batman and Robin, and I know to a lot of people that's gonna sound outrageous, but Batman and Robin I watched more as a kid, so I have like a little soft spot for it. But speaking of which, I mean, of course, Batman and Robin, it's one of the worst superhero films ever made, but I still somehow have fun with it, just because it is so bad that it's good kind of thing. But yeah, on the 24th I started watching Euphoria, and of course I binged the entire two seasons in a couple of days. Absolutely love the show. If you want to hear my thoughts on Euphoria, I made a video essay which I will link in the description box down below if anyone wants to check that out if you've seen the show. I really like Euphoria. I of course really love the filmmaking behind it. I think Sam Levinson's vision for it is obviously what makes the show. Yeah, really like Euphoria. Shame we have to wait so long for the next season, but hey, oh well. On the 27th, the final thing I watched in February was Horrible Bosses, and this is a huge guilty pleasure of mine. I absolutely love this film. I think Charlie Day, Jason Bateman, and Jason Sudeikis, their chemistry as a trio in this is just brilliant. I have so much fun with Horrible Bosses every time I come back to it. So yeah, that was the last thing I watched in February. Now moving on to March. In March, I watched 10. I logged 10 entries, which is the lowest that I've ever logged a month since I started this series here on YouTube. So yeah, not great, but hence why I'm combining these watches with the February watches in this one big episode. But yeah, anyways, on the 4th of March, my most anticipated film of the year, The Batman, I watched. I went to the BFI at midnight to watch this, and I had an absolute blast with this film. I thought it was close to perfection as it could be. Yeah, if you want to check my thoughts out on the film, I filmed a review for it, which I'll link down below, of course. I basically give you guys everything on what I thought of the film, the cast, the visuals, Matt Reeves as a director, what I'm looking forward to in the next upcoming Batman films. Yeah, and then on the 9th again, I went to see The Batman again. This time I felt the runtime a little more. The film is close to 3 hours, but I felt the runtime a little more on the second watch, hence why I took the rating down half a star, but still, of course, very, very good. Thoroughly enjoyed myself. So yeah, on the 10th, I watched Fresh, which is a new film starring Daisy Edgar Jones, I think that her name is, and of course Sebastian Stan. I had a lot of fun with it. I was hearing so much buzz about this film, and there is so much buzz still that is going on online and on social media. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with this film. I don't think it's entirely original. I think it takes steals from things like films like Get Out and Misery and Raw, and it sort of combines all of that into one, which I guess is quite cool, and it made for a really entertaining watch, which I enjoyed. So yeah, 3.5 out of 5 stars for Fresh. On the 15th, I watched The Adam Project, which is Ryan Reynolds' new film on Netflix. Very Spielbergian-esque, yeah, but didn't quite pack the story. Sort of I wasn't that big of a fan of. It's a sci-fi, time-travel-y, wishy-washy kind of plot, but Ryan Reynolds does some really good emotional acting in this film for sure, which it was a pleasant surprise, because usually when you go and see a Ryan Reynolds film, he's usually playing himself again and again, but in this, he does kind of play himself, but at the same time, there are those moments where he really steps into this character, and yeah, I thought it was fine, but it does have some of the worst de-aging CGI I have ever seen in a film. So if you're thinking about watching it for the special effects and the sci-fi aspects, or the special effects aspects specifically, yeah, it's not too great. But on the 17th, that was my birthday. So every year on my birthday, I try and watch one of my all-time favorites, and this year it was none other than Matthew Vaughn's Kick-Ass, which I absolutely love. This is one of my favorite films of all time. I've loved this film ever since I first saw it. I was about 11 or 12 years old. Probably shouldn't have watched it that young, but probably added to why I love it so much. I still think this is like one of the best superhero flicks ever made. Like, you can quote me on that. I think it is better than Deadpool. Some of my friends are like, what? No way, Deadpool's the best. No, Kick-Ass is fucking incredible. I love it every single time I watch it. I think the cast is amazing. It's so funny. It's so violent. It just, everything. From the opening scene itself, you know what kind of film you're watching. And yeah, I absolutely I don't know what else to say. I absolutely love Kick-Ass. Maybe, you know what, I will make a video essay on why I love Kick-Ass so much one day, and why I think it's a masterpiece. So yeah, on the 19th I watched Deep Water, which is a new film starring Ben Affleck and Ana de Armas. I don't really know what to say. It's not good. How about that? Yeah. But I mean, it has like Ana de Armas in it, so I mean, I think that's why most people watch the film anyway. Ben Affleck is Ben Affleck. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I wouldn't recommend it. If you're like really bored one night and you see this on Amazon Prime or whatever, and you decide to watch it, let me know what you think. I didn't think it was too good. But on the 25th, I watched X. And I really enjoyed myself with X. Mia Goth is absolutely amazing in this film. It's a new A24 art house horror, which is exactly my cup of tea. I love horror films, especially ones that are as sort of graphic and as violent as this. Yep, really enjoyed myself with X. Almost gave it a 4 stars, didn't quite, but 3.5, still very good. I had a lot of fun with it. But on the 26th, I didn't actually watch Back to the Future, the film. I did, however, watch the musical in London's West End, and I absolutely loved it. I think if you're ever in London, or if you're ever thinking about going to see, if you don't like musicals, I would still recommend this to you. If you like Back to the Future, I 100% I think you need to check this, to check the West End play out. I was really sort of concerned that it wasn't gonna do justice to the film, but it really manages to capture the essence of the film, and just from the music and the visuals, it's really good. And the cast, the guy who plays Marty McFly is spot on. Like, he's really, really good. Plays really funny as well. I had a blast watching this. But yeah, on the 27th, I watched The French Connection for the first time. Loved it. Can see why it's classic. Has one of the greatest car chase sequences ever put to film, if not the greatest. That's obviously what it's known for the most, but yeah, just a really solid film that I had a really good time watching. And then the last film that I watched in the month of March was Remember the Titans. Denzel, can't go wrong with Denzel. I used to love this film as a kid. I've sort of become less charmed by sports dramas as I've grown up, but this still manages to hit a soft spot for me. And I was watching it, and obviously we have a young Ryan Gosling in the film. Yeah, Remember the Titans I think is a pretty really epic motivational, emotional watch that yeah, I still love revisiting today. So yeah, that is it, guys. Those are all the entries that I had in March and February of 2022. Let me know what you managed to check out recently, or if you have any thoughts on any of those films. I would love to hear, so be sure to comment them down below. And of course, if you did enjoy the video, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you are new, guys. I'm in the process of planning some new and exciting videos that hopefully I will be getting out very soon on the channel, so stay tuned for that. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you very soon in the next video.